Suomi. So we'll see what they can do. Game number 1 will be Step, and we'll be loading this one up in just a moment if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready for sure. Just let me know when you launch the game, or I'm just launching the game right now, put it on pause, and then start right away when you start.
Sure. Well, I can count us down in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, everyone. Welcome. Suomi versus VNA. We are here in game number 1 for the round of 8 for the East Asia ECL 4v4 stage. It's a bit of a mouthful introducing these games because there's so many stages and there's so much going on, but we get there in the end. Obviously, Suomi versus VNA should be a really nice match. We were just talking about the fact that we think Suomi will have the edge. We'll have to see if our predictions are right. Demise Red, welcome to the game, and maybe you could do the honors of introducing our first team here.
Thank you so much. Hello there. And I'll just start right away with Suomi. They're on the left-hand side this time. And it's the northern flank is Rubenstock with the Slaz in the gray color. His favorite color as well here. Then the pockets. First pocket is going to be Vilesa in green with the Spanish. Then the other pocket is going to be the Max with the Chinese teal color. So we got everything set for the Max here. And then last but not least, we got Zupi as the southern flank with the Mongols.
That's right. Across from them against Zupi is Say My Name, aka Yellow, playing as the Chinese. In the pocket player, we have VNA Song Song playing as the Spanish. Second pocket is Backed, or also playing under the name 8 Euro here. He's playing as the Mayans in orange, and up to the north in the purple, it's ACCM playing as the Mongols on the flank versus Rubenstock. So, all civs the same with the exception of the Slavs and Mayans. Those are the differing civs here for those two teams. That's an interesting one because we've seen the Slavs picked quite a lot in the games we've seen today, and they've always seemed to do very well, but not having the Mayans, maybe a little risky.
Yeah, that's something really important that you've mentioned. Slavs all around, like you said, really working well with the farms and so on. They can function really well as a pocket and also as a flank. But with the Mayans and the other team, that's really interesting for sure. Just asking myself how this is going to develop, especially because Bhakti is Mayans and is the pocket. I'm never a fan of Mezosiv being a pocket, but in this case, it could be interesting for sure. I'm really looking forward how they will actually play this one out with the Mayans. And then facing the Slaz, I see many scenarios in which this could be quite tricky with the Mayans, but later on in the late game it could be quite nice. We'll see.
Yeah, I do like the way that VNA's civs are positioned at the moment. Obviously, you've got the Mongols able to do archers. Sorry, scouts from the start, with the archers probably coming from the Mayans in the pocket. But I do wonder, if you've got Mayans in the pockets here, do you try and do the fast castle into plumed archers? I think it could be a little risky as this map is so open. We'll have to wait and see. And it's not completely out of the question. We've seen teams doing it before. And then in the south, you've got the Chinese on the flank and the Spanish in the pocket, which is kind of where you want those civs to be. Across from them, obviously, Zupi Mongol flank and Chinese pocket from Max. That will be scout and archers there. And then you can see Vilesa actually starting to wall up already. Could be a greedy play from him with the potential for a straight fast castle as well. But Rubenstock gonna lose a villager there in the north. Tries to block the ball with the house. Couldn't quite make it work. And I think he got a little bit distracted by ACCM's horse coming into his base there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Interesting. Just a question here before we proceed. What minute are you on? Just to know that we are synchronized here.
6:47 right now.
Alright, I'll just speed up a tiny bit more and then I'll just be there.
Cool.
But yeah, indeed, the horse was quite an interesting move there for sure. And yeah, something really important that you've said. What about fast castles, especially with the Mayans? Do you want to go for the fast castle? It could be working. It would be perfect, of course, just to skip the field legend right away. Make sure that you can utilize the fact that you have the fast-working, fast-moving, unique units. But then again, this map is so open, as you've mentioned. It will be quite difficult. But then again, as you've also said, Vilesa walling up like this, where is this going? Is he trying to go for actually a fast castle himself? By the looks of it, it can be working.
Yeah, if you can get the wall off, then fast castle into conks could work quite nicely. We've seen it before already today. And at that point, you have to question whether or not the Mayan player should mirror that, and I believe they probably should. But we'll see, because at the moment, we've got our first players reaching the feudal age. That's Ruben Stock up to the north. He is up... sorry, clicked up to the feudal age. It's Song Song who's first up to feudal. That's the Spanish pocket for VNA. The Spanish pocket's doing completely different things here. One going for fast scouts, one going for a lot of walls, and an extended Dark Age into a fast castle. So both teams playing this one very differently right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a difference, and I'm just asking myself if Suomi is actually going for some kind of rather toxic team play that they could pull off than just to annoy their opponents on the flanks. We'll see about this one, but like you've mentioned, different approaches, and ACCM is the one currently building the stable in the middle of the field, and yeah, by the looks of it, he just wants to make sure that he profits from the fact that he has the Mongols and moves out with these scouts. But then again, is scouts going to work if your opponents are fully walled up? Well, probably not, but we'll see if there's some couple of villagers or some gaps where the scouts could squeeze through.
There's always a hole. And right now there are actually many holes, so this is funny. I love how the spearman of Zuppy does no damage to the horse of Say My Name. Like, the horse is not classed as a cavalry unit, because otherwise that spearman would have killed it by now and not done just 6 damage with 2 hits. Well, actually it wouldn't have killed it, but, you know. Either way, it should have done more damage than that. So the horses that aren't horses right here on this map.
Exactly.
But yes, we do see the development in the south. That's going to be scouts and archers for both sides. It looks like the Mayan player is fast castling. It looks like Valesa, the Spanish player, is fast castling. And then in the north, we've got Sling coming in from Ruben Stock, whereas ACCM is going for Mongol scouts. And he's in, gets a villager, and loses a scout.
No, that's highly unfortunate for sure. Let's see how this is going to develop. This villager is down. More stuff is about to happen because, well, seems like it is actually working well for ACCM, or it isn't. I guess I'm slightly behind you time-wise, but still I think we're able to see the most important thing, that this villager was down and more scouts are to come. ACCM does its best to actually keep up the pressure, but the Max also has his own scouts prepared in order to take on the fight and hold the ground. And just in order to finish the wall here, all players on the left-hand side are fully walled up now. On the right-hand side, we can say the same. Quite interesting to see on such an open map to pull off this massive walling. But then, of course, a guarantee for us that this is going to be potentially a longer game, or at least a game that will take place mostly in Castle H. We'll see.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And I think that that's, you know, Suomi here wanting to give up the map control more than anything, you know. They've got no map control right now. They're all sitting behind their walls. Max is moving out for the first time with some scouts. But I think they feel confident in their castle play. And this is something that we see Suomi doing a lot. We saw it when we were in previous... before East Asia, we watched them playing on Gorge, and they just walled up the whole map because they just feel confident when they, you know, can have this wall off and they know that they're not going to be surprised by some military units in their economy out of nowhere. It also gives them the confidence to push out as well, which is what they're doing now. Max looking for some villagers taking deer. Unfortunately for him, unable to find them as the spears here are guarding those villagers there.
Exactly. That's well done, really safe play by ACCM. He could have just said, no, I just need 1 spearman, but of course, too dangerous, such an open map. 4 scouts, 1 spear, that would be just too easy. 2 spears is a whole different situation. But nevertheless, the spears are now going. Some harassment is happening after all. And Max, the opportunist, takes down 1 villager, loses a scout. That's a good trade for him. Well done. Quite unexpected for ACCM. 2 spearmen just there, not doing anything. Unfortunate for him.
Oh,
but something else.
There's a hole.
Yeah?
There's always a hole.
Yeah, exactly.
They've left a gap, and ACCM finds his way in to the base of Max. Let's see what he can do here with 5 scouts. He doesn't have any upgrades on them, but 5 scouts unexpectedly in your wood line could be 2 or 3 dead villagers here. Max, does he see it? Not yet. He does now. Has he reacted in time? Nope. And those 3 villagers trapped into the wood line. Well, at least 2 will die here. Maybe even all 3.
Nah, he just was too sure that he is actually fully walled up, but just one spearman for protection on the very right-hand side, not even remotely close to the villagers. And yeah, the villagers are now in danger, massive harassment. One villager is down for sure, and then more stuff is about to happen. Spearman finally arriving there, but yeah, 2 villagers in total down. That's highly unfortunate. Therefore, ACCM now in a better spot concerning the Civ, the villager trait there. It's actually quite of a good situation, especially because ACCM is still in the base. He can harass more and more.
He can, but then Max comes over with a couple of camels and starts to chase him away. So ACCM's got to get out. But that means that Max is sending his camels backwards to defend rather than forwards to attack. And as a result, that buys them some time. On the other side of the map, Say My Name, he's walled up. And the Suomi team teaming up here to try and take those walls down and push him back. Really well held by Say My Name right now. Just keeping them out and buying himself some time. Working really nicely.
That was phenomenal. The way he just put down the second gate like this, I thought that this wouldn't work, but it actually worked. That's well done. He holds the ground. That's really important. Therefore, Zupi is not able to push through. Would be, of course, ideal for him to get these archers in and kill a couple of innocent villagers. By the looks of it, though, it seems like they will be marching forward, especially now that the Max is there with his knights, which I like way more than camels at this point, because you said it, camels used is maybe better for defensive reasons, but knights, I want to see them how they get their hands on the villagers, and currently now it's happening. Therefore, Say My Name, forced to build a tower.
Yep, tower's up, and that's going to be important to protect that gold, of course. But these guys can just go straight through because there's a hole in the wall, of the wood line. Song Song notices that and closes it up quickly, but we'll lose a couple of villagers. Oh, wow, she gets away with 1 HP. Well, 1 villager in that case. And yeah, I mean, they've got an entry point into Zuppy's base, into Say My Name's base, and they're going to do what they can. However, they are now trapped in here, but the damage is being done anyway, so it's worth sacrificing some of your military to get a ton of villager idle time and kills to your name.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth it. Those are not too many knights, and these knights, as I said, had some high value for sure. I like that. That's well done. Say My Name is hurt significantly at this point, and I mean, look at the villager counts here. For instance, currently, Say My Name, 33 villagers, and his teammates more than that. I mean, way more than that. That's actually some incredible value there. And Zupi is still there as well. It's unbelievable. He's still trying to go for the damage. Of course, with archers alone, they're not the strongest unit now that the others are on the next stage. But still, I like it. Say My Name is struggling.
Yep, and with the Knights of Max there to tank a little bit, those archers can still do some damage to the Knights. Although now the Knights of Max are dying a little bit. He will eventually lose all of those archers, but the eco damage onto Say My Name has been huge. He's 10 villagers behind anyone else on his team at the moment, and way behind overall, so that's great. They've set him back considerably, and now they're going to be looking to move out across the other areas of the map to attack too, and that's going to be up in the north, with Vilesa moving out with some conquistadors, looking to find some damage there. Meanwhile, ACCM, I think, is he just slinging now? He is. And so is Rubenstock. So both of the players in the north just slinging the rest of their teammates to support them in this engagement.
Yeah, and the question is who's going to be more effective. We got ACCM with the Mongols slinging, then we got Rubenstock with the Slavs. Slav obviously have an infamous role when it comes to slinging, especially when it comes to the food, as their farms are quite sick. This could be maybe potentially a tiny bit better, but still quite interesting to see. Now it's a 3v3 with the slinging parties involved as well. And yeah, therefore the Conquistadores of Vilesa not able to push through potentially. Maybe should seek some other victim of his choice, but we'll see when it comes to that one. Currently, we just see that more and more of Vilesa's Conquistadors are moving forward in front of ACCM's base, as if he is determined to slow down ACCM and to hurt him severely.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to struggle to get through there very quickly, but if he can get through in the end, just with 5 conquistadors, it would be enough to kill a feudal age economy, right? So it's only a matter of time, and meanwhile, he can send his conquistadors out around the map to do some more damage as well. But it seems to me like VNA are just busy chasing down the Suomi team in the Castle Age. I don't think they've really had any point in the game where they've been proactive. It's really just been reacting to whatever the Suomi team are doing. They're not really counter-attacking themselves. They're just chasing and chasing and chasing. Back to showing up to the scene now, and we'll see those plumed archers do a pretty good job versus the conks, actually.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, in that case, I really favor back T here with his units. Therefore, we see how Suomi is now forced to back down, back away. And that's something really important that you said. Now, really reactive, even though they had the map controller. How does it work? We thought, okay, now it's going to be just Suomi defending and defending because they've just deliberately given it away. But no, it's the other way around. Now it's just Suomi defining the rhythm of this game, even though now that they're forced to move back to the middle of the map, I see that VNA could potentially move forward now because the army of plumed archers is quite nice, quite considerable. The knights are there as well, and we see a castle by back T now.
Yes, in the middle of the map. He's got his second castle coming up. Of course, he's 74 vills now, so he's got a lot more than the rest of his team, and he's receiving sling, so he wants to double his plumed archer production as fast as possible. Now, I do like the plumes in this position. They are better, in my opinion, than the conks. They fire faster. They are able to do more, but it looks like the game has now dropped, and we will load up part 2.
Exactly.
So let's do that. I'll pause and then I'll count down. Okay.
I'm on my way. Just a second.
Does it freeze on the game menu? It does that to me sometimes when I have a lot of reps.
Yeah, it's exactly this. I just have to wait and wait, but it's all good. And I'm finally in. Okay. Ready when you are.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, perfect.
All right, yeah. So the players moving out in toward the middle. I kind of like the way this is formed, like some giant arena in the middle of the map. It's like this is where we fight. This is where we where we try and win. Very little raiding going to be happening on either team now, I feel, as the team wars are well and truly in place. It's going to be about finding some good engagements in the middle, or maybe getting to Imperial and forcing an engagement with some siege. And as I say that, 3 players click to Imp. That's Velessa, Backed, and Song, which means that 2 of the 4 Vietnamese players will be Imperial, and only 1 of the Finns will be up.
True that indeed. Just asking myself what Song especially is gonna do. Spanish in the Imperial Age is quite interesting. Does he want to commit more for the sake of his knights? Most likely Cavalier is gonna be on the menu for him, and this is quite strong. 2 versus just 1 person on the other team in Imperial Age. This could be some opportunity for them to actually look out for a fight, because currently in the southern part of the map they're kind of avoiding each other, but with the tech advantage that they could get very soon, could be a nice chance for them to actually dive in and actually create some damage, military damage, and from that on maybe create this window of opportunity to go for some raiding. But we'll see, because for now Suomi tries his best once again to attack Say My Name.
Yeah, and oh, sorry, Max is also Imp. I missed that. I maybe he clicked up way before and I didn't see it. So yeah, my bad. So a Chinese player will be Imp as well. He's going Cavalier, that's interesting because you're going to have Cavalier from the Chinese player, and you're going to have the Spanish player making Paladins as well, or going into Cavalier and Paladin. So they're just going all in on the cavalry, and I think that makes a lot of sense given that Backed is going for plumed archers. So you're going to have elite plumed archers and paladins versus paladins and more paladins. And I think I'd rather have more paladins at this point, because although plumes are cheap, easy to mass, and they are very strong, they do get overwhelmed in open spaces like this if they get surrounded by paladins.
100%, because also this is a team game, therefore gold will be there, and the more paladins you have, well, they're considered as one of the strongest units.
And Max is in as well. As soon as Say My Name manages to get a footing, he immediately loses it once again. And it looks like Suomi want to force the fight here in the south. Looks like Velessa will actually run into a castle of Backed. That castle will be denied, I believe, if Velessa wants to actually deny it. Oh, quick wall from Backed, but it's not quick enough, and all those villagers will be toast.
That's highly
huge.
unfortunate. That's highly unfortunate. Now they have problems on more levels. I mean, now Bakti has this problem with the castle. And Say My Name, wow, looks just terrifying at this point. Look at how many villagers are dying at this point. Being chased away, being killed like this. This looks terrible. Just looking at the villager count once again for Say My Name. Wow, 46, about 40 there. That's terrible.
Yeah, 43 villagers and 38 idols. He even has -2 military according to the overlay. That's just how bad it's getting for our red player here. That's really, really rough for him. Bax does turn up with the elite plumed archers, but it's a little bit late. You've got one player slinging. You've got one player out of the game. And for VNA, it's essentially 2v3 now. You've got Zuppy just going up to Imp. He won't be able to support too much with those crossbow, but it will surely help. And then meanwhile, you've got Valessa doing Paladin, Song Song doing Paladin, and the Cavaliers are in for the Max. Max will be able to start transitioning out of this at some point, but for now, just keep pumping out Cavalier. It's the best thing to do at this stage of the game, I think.
Yeah, and once Zuppy is in the next stage, he's going to be able to just support even more with his ranged units, and then the whole situation will be just a one-way ticket to hell, at least from the point of view of VNA, unless, of course, they're able to protect themselves. But just asking myself how Say My Name wants to get out of the situation in which he has lost so many villagers. He should not be able to participate in this game for a longer period of time.
Yeah, and I don't like this either. Bact is out of position with the plumes, so he can't really take the fight with Song Song here. Song Song's Paladin is about to complete. At this point in the game, you need to link up with your other player just in time for Paladin. It looks like they will group up just in time here to take a fight, but what they don't know, of course, is that the Paladin of Valessa is about to complete at the same time. However, Song Song has a lot more Cavalier on the map. He's got 67 Cavalier. Valessa only will have 52 military, and some of that is Conquistador as well. So they're going to make that push now. This is going to be really important for VNA. If they can win this engagement now, this will be their way back into it. But Paladin's done for Valessa. The Paladin upgrade for Song Song isn't there just yet, but they're going to start taking the fight. They're backing up, they're backing up, they're backing up. They're waiting for Paladin. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And there it is, but it's kind of already a bad start to the fight for them.
Indeed, now it's happening. It's certainly an advantage for Suomi at this point because, yeah, like I said, Paladin just a bit too late. Bakti tries his best to actually deal the damage with his elite plumed archers, but we'll see. As you said, the numbers of yellow in this case, Song Song, look way better. And maybe the plumed archers are actually, yeah, they are doing it. They're forced away. Suomi is actually moving back at this point. Well done.
Only for a few moments, because as soon as Arbalest comes in from Zuppy, they'll look to try and turn this around. I think they wanted to fall back toward the castles a little bit. But yes, obviously the Chinese player here needs to get camels out. He needs to start getting Chuko Nu out. It is a much harder transition to do that, go into Chuko Nu than it is to go into Plumes. Just due to the fact that they're much slower and they need more upgrades and they, take longer in general. But having the Cavalier out was good, but it's not good enough anymore. Not now that Song Song has Paladin, and he's got to switch into those Chuko Nu.
Yeah, I'm just looking how this game is developing at this point. Now that Zuppy finally has Arbalest, he can be participating in this very matchup because for a long time he was just standing in the back, waiting and waiting. But yeah, Chuko Nus, as you said, will take some long time, but if they're maximized concerning their strength, they could be able to deal the damage. I just love the fact that their secondary arrows deal the melee damage, will be even stronger. It just gets so strong after some time. And as you can see, Suomi is now pushing back. Could be quite dangerous, especially for the trebuchets here. Let's see, they're just gonna dive in here at this point. Wow.
The Trebs right now are doing a lot of damage, actually. It looks like Max might just lose the castle. And, you know, he did build these forward castles at a time when they had a lot of map control. And now they're losing that map control a little bit. The castles will go down very quickly. And in fact, the resources will be reclaimed. That gold now can be taken again by Say My Name. Say My Name, still trying to keep his head above water, still trying to reboom his way back into this one, as Song Song is just like, right, we just need to make more Paladins, and then we can win the game. This is strong.
This is strong indeed. I just really like the fact that this game is more in the middle rather than just inside of the bases of the other people. But still, once again, looking at Say My Name, what is he doing at this point, right? How does he participate here? I feel that in the long run, it will be quite hurtful and significant that he cannot just help out his buddies, even though Bhakti and Song Song both together doing a great job here. And as you said, the castles are going down, Max is losing the grounds, and now that the Arbals are quite open there, exposed, could be quite dangerous for Zupi just to waste his army like this. We'll see.
Yeah, they're backing up right now. Zupi's finally making that transition into Mangadai. Obviously, having a lot of crossbow left over from the Castle Age, it makes sense to upgrade them into Arbalest. But once the Mangadai start to come onto the field, then this is going to get very scary. The thing for the Suomi team is that they needed time. It takes a long while to get Elite Mangadai up and running and to get Chuko Nu up and running, but now they have them. They're going to be able to start to do a really good job here. However, Song Song and Backed together so far have 186 military, and they are actually pushing this back. They're starting to take down these forward buildings and make some progress towards the Suomi line.
Yeah, I really love this. It's quite incredible how they both just are able to keep busy those three players. Now that Max tries to dive in once again with his heavy camels and cavaliers, don't think that he should just dive in there, because simply just alone with his elite Chuko Nus, maybe it could work, but looks like a stalemate at this point. Back and forth, back and forth. Also Vilesa is asking himself how long he should wait, but I guess they are all waiting for the Mangadai to be just maxed up number-wise, and then they could potentially deal the damage, especially now that Bhakti also has his Halberdiers up. Mangadai will be even more important in this case, together with the Arbalest.
Yeah, Onager out now as well for Zupi, so Siege Onager is also on the way. ACCM going up to the Castle Age, that's important because that means that he's going to be stopping the Sling very soon and starting to get more numbers on the field. Sling is great up to a point, but at one point in the game, you need just to have raw numbers on your side, and it's 3v2 right now, so the numbers should eventually favor Suomi. And it looks like we've got Suomi surging forward, VNA running back to get out of there because they're not confident that they can take that fight now.
Indeed. Zupi with Siege Onager and Drill is going to be maybe quite impactful. It depends on how well they will micro their opponents. But also looking forward to seeing if ACCM is going to be there in time. You said it, him reaching the Castle Age will be some change, but then again, it will require a lot of time. Will be the game decided until then or not? We'll see in a few seconds or minutes, but for now, it's Song Song even more ballsy here. Quite brave of him to go forward and just try to take down the remaining units of Zupi here, gaining more and more ground.
I love this though. You don't get to see this all too often. Just two teams going at it on an open field, you know? Normally there's some hills involved or there's some base raiding going on. Not in this game. This is just all out action in the middle of the map, and it's just about who has the better army. And at this point, it's clearly Suomi as they push VNA all the way back. Song and Backed getting split up a little bit here, and that means that they can't support each other and can't realistically take this fight against a very big deathbally army of Suomi.
No, that's the thing. I'm also quite surprised by the fact that Bhakti was just free to shoot with his elite plumed archers throughout the whole time. Now it is the time where the plumed archers are in danger because they're chased by the armies of Suomi. That's really important. I think this was quite decisive, the reason why they were able to push forward VNA. But now that they've understood that probably Bhakti should be taken care of, it seems like Suomi is going to the right more and more.
It does, and we've got Vilesa here trying to ram rush down a castle, but he'll be caught out by Song Song in the north. He'll lose all of his rams, but sometimes you've got to make these sneaky plays because they can work. Other news as well is that Backed is losing a lot of plumed archers to the paladins of Vilesa as well. Vilesa here able to take quite a lot of those guys down because they're just kind of exposed out in the open, and that's not what he wants to happen. The castle here also going down as the Rams come forward. Obviously, Mongols with drill is a very, very scary tech.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Quite underestimated at some point, but in team games, like you said, there are moments to go for some sneaky attacks, and then if you got the opportunity together with drill, boom, the castles are down. Could happen earlier than you think. Also, some other stuff is happening just looking at the Max to the south of Say My Name's base. He tries to actually eat him up from every side here. Just
A castle drop in
tries.
the wood line. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's pretty
Nice,
nice.
nice.
And you've got Zuppy coming in with Mangadai as well. And I think what happened there is as soon as they pushed Song Song back, they took that opportunity to swing around and just clean out Say My Name because he's still in the castle age. There's nothing he can do to stop that, and he never got the opportunity to stabilize. So this is pretty much GG right here. Suomi will take game number 1. I assume, at least, because it looks very, very clear to me like a win. VNA holding on for now, but Say My Name really isn't going to have anything left in a few moments here. Look at those villagers, man. Going down.
That's quite devastating. At the same time, just looking at ACCM, who tries to get Bloodlines and Botkinner and all those things that he would need for potential Mangadai, but wow, good luck with that one. It'll take so much time. It's just simply too late, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's time that they don't have as well, you know? Like, he's getting all the techs now, but, you know, Say My Name's just died. Most of those paladins from Song Song are also dead, and the momentum is just not there for them. Max, Zuppy, Valessa, and, well, I want to say and Rubenstock, but he's still slinging. They will eventually overwhelm them. I imagine that Rubenstock will have, at some point, make some military if this game were to go on, but I don't believe it will. I don't think that these guys will be stopped anymore.
No, I think it's over now because, I mean, Say My Name has been out of the game for a longer period of time. Now it's completely over for him. ACCM won't be there in time, and now it's just simply 2v4, 2v3, probably just 2v4 at this point, and realistically speaking, of course, no more chance. Vecti is losing his army, the main component that he had with his plumed archers. They're not there anymore to make the impact in the fights, and therefore it's just now raiding instead of the fight in the middle, only raiding by Suomi now.
And GG called, apart from Say My Name, who is still in the game. I wonder if maybe he went AFK for a minute, or he just, I don't know, he's not resigning for some reason. All of his teammates have resigned, but Say My Name plays on. It's like, I got this, guys. 33 vills, 1 military. I can take 4 guys. You just watch me.
Just watch and learn, exactly. Yeah, just a matter of time.
I always say, players don't resign unless they really believe they can't win. So in that moment, until he resigned, he believed he could win. And then he reevaluated his situation and realized, actually, my teammates have all resigned here. I'm alone.
Oh. Yeah, unfortunate.
So there you go. Game number 1. Nice game, actually. A nice game of step. It was like Arena, in a way.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. A lot of just waiting and waiting because they just walled up, right? Yeah. So this arena type, and then in the middle of the clash until someone just gave in, and then it was a one-way ticket till the very end.
Yeah, Song there, interestingly, 140 kills and 236 losses, even though he had all Paladin. It's really difficult to take a very, very good engagement when you're just outnumbered. It's almost impossible.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Especially you're outnumbered. Even though Song had more numbers by himself compared to other individuals, right? But still, the numbers were like this. It was an open map. Maneuvers were really difficult, especially if you are outnumbered. Just 2 versus 3, for instance. There's always a chance where your opponent can just surround you way easier, logically speaking. Therefore, of course, this could be one explanation for his KD.
Yeah, and of course, Paladins are expensive as well, so he can't really afford to be throwing them away like that, but lo and behold, he did. Game number 2 now coming up. Team Causeway is our next map. This is one of the map pack maps. Sorry, not map pack. Map competition maps. We are going to be getting that one going in just a minute. Can you join the Game 7?
Exactly, I'm on my way, and there I am. Cool. Let's go.
Yeah, so Team Causeway, it's like Team Islands with sort of like shallows connecting them. So it's some extra things to consider, like, for example, maybe considering walling them off so that they can't cross, or maybe trying to bust through and catch them unawares. I think it's unlikely we'll actually see the causeways being used for that purpose. I think they'll just get walled up at the start, but we will see in a few moments because we're going to start that game now.
Yes, sir. Looking forward for sure. especially to see how they will actually make use of this map, because there's a reason why it's team causeways where we have the shallows. Maybe they'll make use of that. Would be interesting for us. There's a high chance that it's going to be a rather regular team islands type of game, but still, maybe there's going to be some demolition ship bringing some new action to it. We'll see.
Yeah, I still firmly believe that this will be a sort of treated as a water map, but there are quite a lot of crossing points. Walling them all might not be so simple. It certainly does mix up the map a little bit, and we could see more land aggression here on Team Causeways, which is game number 2 between Suomi and VNA. Looks like we've got Suomi on the south and the east island, with the VNA team on the north and the west. Demi's Red, I'll let you introduce the first team.
Thank you. So we'll start with VNA this time, and this would be then in the north, ACCM with the Vikings as the northern flank, so to speak. Then his pocket is, let me just look at the map correctly, that would be back to here, quite far away, interestingly, with the Portuguese. Then the other pocket is going to be Say My Name with the Huns. And then we got VNS Cool with the Italians as the southern flank.
Across from Cool in the blue, it's Zuppy playing as the Vikings. The pocket position, Villessa playing in the green as the Portuguese. The second pocket, the Max in the teal playing as the Japanese. And to the north of the map in the grey, it's Rubenstock playing as the Italians. So do they have identical civs? No, they don't. VNA decided to take Huns instead of Japanese, yeah. And to be honest, I feel like I like the Japanese more, especially since the change was made where the fire ships do less damage to the fishing ships.
Yeah, I think so as well. What it changes is, of course, the food income is more of a safe thing. You can profit a lot from their fishing boats, and that's nothing to be underestimated in water games. Just getting the eco up on water is so strong. Hans is definitely different kind of choice. Looking forward to seeing how Say My Name wants to play this one out. There are potential reasons for that one. Maybe he wants to go for the land attack. We'll see. But the other civs are rather regular for this kind of map, which I really like to see. Especially Vikings is always lovely to see, especially in the Castle Age. Looking forward for that one for sure. But yeah, until then, we'll just gotta wait and see what's going to happen.
I certainly expect we'll see some longboats, and although the Vikings have been sort of dislodged from their number 1 position in, as a water civ, the Italians or the Malay are considered to be better now. Are you kidding me? Rubenstock just lost a villager to a boar again. That's like 2 games now where he's lost a villager to a boar. Now, he is attempting to do a very long boar lure, but I feel like that should be achievable. It's a straight line, nothing blocking, but still, he failed to block it, and that's the second build down. But as I was saying, yes, the Italians and the Malay considered to be better in 1v1 than the Vikings, I feel, now. But in team games, Vikings are absolutely necessary, not just for the team bonus, giving them the cheaper docks, but also for the longboats which they can make in the Castle Age. So ACCM loses his scout to Rubenstock's TC. I feel like we're watching a replay of last game where ACCM lost his horse to Rubenstock's TC while Rubenstock lost a villager. Wow, that's kind of weird that happens again.
No, I'm just happy for Rubenstock that this time he got the boar with the second attempt. It was quite tight once again, but good for him. He made it, and also at least he was able to take care of ACCM scout there. But yeah, definitely Vikings going to be really huge in this game. Just the longboats themselves, they just deal so much damage in many games, many tournament games so far. This last year especially, we've seen them shine for various reasons. But yeah, also Italians going to be quite decisive in my opinion. Why is that? Because their fastest uptime, so to speak, could be extremely important, significant when it comes to the water control, at least in one area. Obviously, one Italian player cannot take over the whole water in a 4v4, but still, it should have some impact when it comes to the dominance in water right away. Worth mentioning that currently, the Italian player VNS Cool is the first one clicking up.
Yeah, that's nice and quick for him, and he's going to be getting aggressive on the front with his forward dock. Meanwhile, I noticed Say My Name lost a villager to Max's scout, and Rubenstock lost his scout to ACCM's TC. While that's happening, the Max's scout is being chased down by Say My Name, and I guess he'll just head back to safety, or maybe he'll get Valessa to help him out here with some support from his scout. But yeah, the shallows seem to be getting walled up pretty quickly. I think that's a sensible thing to do. Looks like there's a couple of open spots still around the middle of the map, and it does seem like VNA are much more interested in walling up the shallows than the Suomi team. They haven't seemed to attempt to really wall any of them, with the exception of Zuppy in the south. So I'm interested to know why that is. It looks like their dock positions are also more on the back and sides. So I expect Suomi to play more defensively here.
Yeah, this could definitely be, but something really important at the same time happening is the Max currently puts Garrison's 2 villages in his transport ship and is now on the way to the enemy island. But he got caught by a Bactese scout. He knows that this is going to happen. Currently now about to land the Max, or is he? He's now maneuvering to the left-hand side, but he has some devilish plans for sure. Probably now that he's going to feudal age, maybe gonna draw up a barracks and do something else. But
Well,
maybe he can utilize his villages in different ways as well.
he's been scouted, so it's going to be really hard now. Obviously, the transport ship here is outpaced by the, well, not outpaced, but nearly matched by the scout. So it's very easy for Bact to keep it in his line of sight. And you see Max trying to debate, go back and forth, and Bact is having none of it. He spots it, and he sees those villagers landing here. The wolf immediately locks on. The scout is there, and Cool is coming over as well. So this landing is going to be a fail. Actually, with that said, we have got a scout coming over from Valessa. Meanwhile, though, the Bacts killed the fire ship. So the fire ship killed the transport. So there's no way out. And for the VNA team, all they want to do now is just kill the villager. Quick walling, though. What a play! There you go.
What a play, what a save, but also so sloppy, all the things. The transport ship is gone, 1 villager is down. This villager just has 3 HP, but I was kind of expecting this. He did this in the World Cup as well, this kind of quick wall here that saved his life, so to speak. So the stable is going to be up, but of course no moment of surprise or anything like that is going to happen. Potentially every Vietnamese player now is going for some potential, what's that called, spearmen, just to protect themselves, or some walling in this case. As you can see, ACCM is fully walled, so I guess they're safe now.
Well, ACCM has done his own landing as well. He's actually gone across Viking scouts landing across the other side of the map. A watchtower going up on the woodline of Rubenstock, and this map has certainly delivered so far on the landing action. It's turned this, what would typically be considered a water map, into a bit of a hybrid here. Rubenstock will lose a villager on the right flank. The tower will come up as well, and those scouts will certainly be annoying now to Rubenstock, who hasn't got a barracks up and has no way to defend his villagers.
This is really bad. He's going to lose the wood line, at least to the right-hand side. Maybe he's going to lose the northern part of the wood line because the tower is not there yet. I guess the second tower will be put there anyway by ACCM, we'll see. But yeah, his alternatives are far away, the other wood lines. But now he has way bigger problems. Look at the scouts. They're killing so many villagers at this point, or at least harassing them. Quite some damage here. Idle time, dead villagers. Wow, Rubenstock is just in a full chaos mode at this point.
Yeah, certainly a lot more damage than Max is able to do on the opposite side of the map. So very, very well played by ACCM there. And he's lowest score on his team as well. So I assume his other teammates are doing quite well. We see Say My Name in the middle of the map, close to Valessa there, trying to raid. Those guys going at it with both of their scout cavalries, and it looks like Valessa will win that fight. He's got more reinforcements coming over, but it should be quite comfortable win for Valessa there, as Say My Name loads up his transport and backs out. On the water, Cool winning against Zuppy, I think. Obviously Italians versus Vikings. Vikings do not have the fire ships, but later on in the game the Vikings will be able to get fletching and start to contend the fires from Cool.
Yeah, let's see how this is gonna go, if the Vikings players are gonna be able to show themselves on the water, because I have the suspicion that a lot of things currently happening on land is maybe gonna have an impact on this very thing, because even the Max now, we said that he failed in total because of his surprise that is now fully faded away. Now he's gone for arches on the enemy islands, but he doesn't use them properly. He doesn't even have fletching to begin with, and yeah, each of the players are now walled up, so to speak. The Max is kind of trapped now in the middle of this enemy island, so to speak. I don't see reasons for him to actually continue doing this unless he has a master plan. We'll see. But VNS Cool is going for the next stage. Let's see what he's about to do.
Yeah, so Max has made a dock at the back, and he's going to transport around the back. But Backed is doing such a good job of scouting. He's seen the archery range, and so they know that he's still here. And now they've sent the fire galleys over. They see the dock as well. Max, I assume, cancels his transport ship if he made one, or he's just not going to make one now, because there's no way he can get out of there without being seen. So really well played by VNA. It's surprising really that they don't have the score lead right now, because I feel like they have done the most damage. They have got the greater villager counts, with the exception of Zuppy, who at the moment is doing very well on both land and water. He's actually pushing out now. He's got fletching. He can actually start to bring the fight to Cool.
Yeah, this looks quite nice. He has good numbers. He can kite, potentially, which he does. And this is a reason for Cool to back off at this point. And this could be quite interesting for the next part of the game. But then again, so many fire galleys now approaching. Wow.
Yeah, suddenly out of nowhere, he just had them very split up, and now he's going to chase Zuppy back. He kind of baited him into pushing out too far, and then sort of went to try and surround him almost. So yeah, at the moment, it's looking like the Castle Age upgrade for Cool will be quite significant, because he's got a good number of fire galleys. He'll get the fire ship upgrade from the war galley, and then be able to start pushing Zuppy further back, because Zuppy's still feudal, hasn't clicked up to the Castle Age yet.
Yeah, true. I'm just looking at ACCM at the same time, because he has Vikings as well, and also has not clicked up yet. He is about to do so in less than a minute, looking at his resources, but he's currently also busy because the Max at least tries something concerning the damage. A couple of archers still without fletching, but fletching is in the making finally. But good, smart walling by ACCM with the stone gate, just to make sure that he's not getting hit. And therefore I think the situation is quite stable. He's not going to be harmed concerning his Castle Age timing. Still, ACCM won't be there in time in comparison to Zuppy. Zuppy could have the advantage being up in Castle Age earlier, but then again, he has his own problems with VNS Cool currently, because the armor fire ships definitely not to be underestimated.
The fires are going to do a lot of damage there, so Zuppy's backed all the way up, giving Cool a lot of space. Cool could start taking down the docks here. He could try and hunt down the army, but either way, Cool is in a great position there. Meanwhile, in the north, Max is still hitting ACCM and trying to break through these walls, but he's not succeeding just yet. ACCM with more defensive structures in place, more stalling and stalling and stalling, waiting for that Castle Age upgrade to come in. But Max will be castle first. We've got crossbowmen coming in for him now, and if he does get in here, he could do a lot of damage actually.
He could. We'll just have to wait a little bit, because still he doesn't make use of it right now. I mean, what I like about the Max currently is that even though he has been in this kind of weird position, he just tries to make the best out of it. And yeah, he has some chances to create the damage, but we'll have to wait a little bit more. Definitely going to be interesting in a few seconds, minutes. Just also looking at the other things happening currently, I'm just focused on VNS Cool for a longer period of time, because he is chasing Zuppy all the time. Zuppy now getting War Galley very soon, and then he's going to be able to make the change probably. He also has his demolition ships ready,
nice.
and he goes for the engagement. That was really important. Still, he is behind his own island, that is, and he needs to use these War Galleys, of course, offensively, ideally speaking, but this is going to take some time.
Yeah, now Zuppy did a good job there. He does actually manage to start pushing this back. His demos were good, but he will lose a dock and, well, I assume he'll lose the dock. I don't know why Cool wouldn't finish the dock, but there's a lot more demos out for Zuppy, and the most important thing to remember here is that longboats are actually pretty good versus fires. They're not bad at all. The reason being, like Achuko knew, is they fire multiple arrows, and each arrow does a minimum damage, so they will do a lot more damage overall compared to a single arrow. So it looks pretty good, and the defense from Zuppy here should be coming in pretty quickly as Cool gets cleaned up and the production of longboats starts going strong.
Yeah, especially if the longboats are masked up, like you said, the multiple arrows, the minimum damage that they deal, for sure, it adds up so much. This would make the difference here. Also on the right hand side, a lot of things are happening, by the way, right? This Bacti with his Portuguese war galleys versus a Ruben Stock with his galleys, but soon to be war galleys. There we go. Now he should be also confident enough to march forward. So interesting stuff happening on the left and right hand side. For now, also Ruben Stock on the verge of pushing forward, maybe getting to the enemy territory. Maybe then he's going to be able to harass a couple of the villagers of ACCM even, potentially, because they're quite exposed to the right hand side.
Yeah, there's a lot going on all over the place, actually. Max just getting cleaned up by Say My Name now. There's a single mangonel out for ACCM, which is forcing Max to run back. Max is trying to do what he can to clean up that mangonel, which he will, and hop into his TC with the archers to keep them safe, which has worked quite nicely for the time being. Valessa is also over on the other side with knights. He's trying to take down that university. There's 4 villagers repairing it, but he gives up. I think he could have actually taken that down if he continued to attack it.
But then again, he decided, okay, it's potentially not worth it now that the monk is there with full faith. Probably a couple of one knight could be just converted there. He backs off now. Maybe he should try to go for some more effective moves rather than just bettering down this university. We'll see. And also the Max is struggling, as you said, because Say My Name finally, I've been waiting for this because he has the Huns. I wanted to see what does he do with the Huns now, but at least he is up there with his knights, but struggling. He's not able to get rid of the Max completely. The crossbows together with the pikemen are doing a fairly good job, so he's struggling there.
Yeah, and it does feel like VNA have managed to make more out of the landing attempts than the Suomi team have so far. Valessa is crossing over now, though, with more vills. There's a couple of wolves chasing, but that should be no problem. He'll deal with them, and he's got a good number of knights over there too. He's also up to the Imperial Age, and with the support of Zuppy on the water, they could do pretty well there. Problem is, Zuppy needs to push forward on the water a little more, just needs to clean up the docks of Cool, maybe take out more fire ships, and then he can support Valessa from the water. Bact is also going up to Imperial right now as well. Portuguese player here, mostly seems to be focused on water and economy. Doesn't seem like Bact has done anything on the land just yet.
Valessa's doing something really dangerous here, at least for his opponents. 2 stables, 1 siege workshop, and a monastery. So we will see both cavalry and probably something like a smush or whatever you want to call it. But he certainly wants to make use of his good civ bonus with the goals that he saves. But then again, there's Say My Name finally engaging, tries to spoil the plans, at least lower the number of units for Valessa. Currently looks fine, successful. The monks are joining the game as well, so Valessa will be forced to go back for now.
Yeah, I think you're right there. He'll definitely have to go back, and obviously he can produce from this forward, but Say My Name has more than enough time to react to this and acknowledge what's going on. So he's not going to be caught by surprise, which is the worst thing that could happen. Meanwhile, as well on the water, looks like Cool bringing his fires out to the right side, really doesn't want to engage Zuppy, and I wouldn't want to engage him either. When Cool is going up to the Imperial Age right now, he's looking to get the fast fire ship upgrade, I imagine, but he's going in with his regular fire ships, trying to push Zuppy back. He's trying to come in from both sides at once, but I think Zuppy may still have the edge here. He's still got a good number of demos, he's got a good number of war galleys, but actually no, Cool has the defender's advantage and can actually push him back a little bit.
Yeah, that's the thing. The reinforcement rate definitely better because he has so many docks just in the front, and from Zuppy we just have 2 docks, therefore Definitely the defensive advantage that he has. Still, what I like is that the water is still not fully decided. I was about to say this, but then again, on the right-hand side, finally, it is Rubenstock pushing through. He's been able to deal with the navy of Bacti, you would say, but then Bacti, what does he do? He's now catching up too slowly, in my opinion. Curious to see how Rubenstock is going to decide. He marches forward now that the fallback plan is not there anymore, as now there's Bacti chasing him. Just trying to understand if he wants to harass ACCM now, or if he's going to understand that Bacti is probably going to chase after him, which he doesn't. Interesting decisions down the right-hand side with the water.
Yeah, Rubenstock actually isn't up to Imp yet, so I don't know why Bact wouldn't chase him down, because now you've got Rubenstock attacking this TC from ACCM completely uncontested, and there you go, he's finally turned around to attack. He has got Galleon here, so that should be good. I wonder if he'll win that fight. I imagine Rubenstock will want to back away, even though he maybe has the numbers advantage. He just doesn't have the upgrades and doesn't want to lose more than he can afford.
Yeah, that's the thing, but I think then the question is, was it worth for Rubenstock to go for this very move? Because he's about to lose his entire navy. At least that's the potential outcome there. Then again, though, he helped his buddy, the Max, quite a bit, because ACCM is in a really, really bad position. Villager count 54 only, idles 33. That's terrible.
Wow.
I mean, successful moves. ACCM is not participating in this game anymore, at least actively. He tried to do something on the enemy island, but then I see a lot of corpses, a lot of dead mangonels. That shows me that I guess ACCM was hurt military-wise as well. Doesn't look too good for him.
No, it doesn't actually, and it's going to get worse if this wall gets beaten down, because there's a lot of max in the way of ACCM's teammates helping him out. So he can just go in there with the Rams, he can start to take down these TCs, and ACCM really doesn't have much to stop it. In the south, quite a lot of trades going on there, but ACCM still has villagers alive. But yeah, for the time being, it looks like the water is going really well for VNA at the moment. Cool, for example, has the fast fires now, which are doing great. Around the top, the war galleys from Rubenstock are just being chased away because he still hasn't clicked up to the Imperial Age. He can't realistically take a fight. So I feel as though Zuppy's the only one for his team really fighting for the water, and he's doing a really good job because those demolition ships have hit some really big shots this game. But is it enough for him to do it on his own? I don't think so.
Just looking at all the developments over here, Villas tries to build a lot of docks, so he tries to go on water once again. Probably just to compensate the situation that Rubenstock currently is about to fail. He's now engaging, even though number-wise he's doing way better. He takes down the galleons. That's wonderful. Then again, though, I'm just currently looking at Rubenstock's economy here, and what does he do? He just, yeah, as you can see, he slings all the resources to Zuppy.
Right.
Interesting.
So instead of going for his own navy, he's opting to sling it to Zuppy so that Zuppy can make more longboats, I assume. I mean, longboats are great, so that's one way to take the water control back. I guess the problem is that the map is very big, and by the time Zuppy even gets to the top side of the map, it might already be too late, because obviously Bact can reposition or you know, move his navy out of the way.
No, that's one thing for sure. Then also, I'm looking at the max here. He, of course, it's always dangerous to leave the max be. If you just give him the spots, give him the space, then he's just gonna spread out, become quite strong. And this is what he is currently. Then again, though, looking at the development behind him, I see that, well, Bacti is there. He currently has a huge army of, well, not too huge, organ guns. I thought that will be used against the Maxi now, but nope. The organ guns are gonna go for the enemy island now, potentially going inside of the base of the Max.
I see, and there's also a lot of paladins over there as well. Say my name, sending them in, and oh boy, Rubenstock could be very, very dead here. A lot of paladins in your base, and no way to really stop them. I don't know if Rubenstock even has a barracks still. No, he doesn't. So he's 100% committed to slinging and to water, and he's got nothing to defend with at home. Rubenstock is basically dead at this point in the game. Zuppy he's got an army in the south. He's doing what he can, but it's too far away. It's kind of too late, and those longboats there getting taken out by fast fires. A little bit of a misclick, perhaps, running straight through them.
Trying to evaluate the situation by comparing the progress of the Max and VNA currently. The Max is actually also destroying ACCM continuously. ACCM now even has lost his TC there. He's about to lose his entire villagers. That's one thing, but at the same time, Rubenstock is in a fully similar situation, so he's about to lose the game himself as well. A lot of villagers down, the TC is down, a lot of paladins there. Looks terrible. Then the question is, how well is this 3v3 going potentially? And I think that Say My Name with paladins, Hans paladins, not to be underestimated, could be extremely strong, maybe even too strong. Together with the help of Bhakti, it could be quite of a hard task for Suomi to get out of the situation.
Yeah, Suomi seems to have refocused onto trying to take the water here, and since the VNA team already pretty much have a lot of water control, they are using that to their advantage by sending a lot of paladins over to the other side, and organ guns across to the other side. You know, yes, Max has done a good job against ACCM. He's actually building a castle in his base now to take down more TCs and push ACCM back even further. But ACCM still has 62 villagers. Rubenstock has just 34. So the situation for Rubenstock is much worse at this stage in the game.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, even though ACCM, it's just a matter of time until he is about to lose everything as well, I guess, but currently it's a fact that Rubenstock is severely more hurt, and not so sure if it's going to be so decisive if both of these guys are not in the game anymore. In terms of the other players, the remaining three in each of the teams, they are going to be super decisive, and I still think that VNA got the upper hand. You said it, with the water control, it's so easy for them to just make use of the shallows now, just to move forward with their land units. Then again though, what do I see here? On the left hand side, Vilesa with a huge army of Navy elite caravels, Portuguese caravels, there we go. Maybe something is about to happen.
Oh yes, it's been a while since we've seen the Suomi team really making a play on the water. This might be the first time in maybe the whole game that they've actually pushed out together. So we'll see what they can do. Obviously the Caravel is super strong, and backed up by longboats as well should also be extremely strong. Looks like they want to try and win back those shallows and enable them to open up the map to do their own aggression here. But yeah, I think that's... whoa. What's all the trade carts doing in the middle of the map? I thought they were organ guns for a second. I was like, wait a minute, no. They're trade carts. They haven't got anywhere to trade with because ACCM lost his base. So that's kind of an awkward situation for them.
Yeah, true. They need to just rebuild their markets somewhere safer towards the middle of the map. But then again, yeah, the middle of the map currently being occupied by the Max, you would say. But then the Max has lost his initial territory and on the enemy islands. Now he has moved to the base of ACCM now. Tries to hold on, but it doesn't look too healthy because, yeah, the siege is there. The Max tries to hold on, but eventually I assume that he's going to lose the ground if it continues like that. And the question is, does the Max have more impact besides this very appearance on the enemy island? Speaking of just potential units that he has on his own island to just make sure that he can use them to raid back or whatever. But nope, not the case. Just what's most important, I guess, is the water fight once again going on. Galleons versus caravels and elite longboats.
Yeah, it's pretty bad right now for Max. He's down to 66 population. Rubenstock down to 48. Vilesa might have close to 200. And, you know, Zuppy might have close to 200, but that's not enough when you've got that many paladins from Say My Name raiding. And the trade can now start once again. Now Max has been cleaned up. So he's firmly been removed from ACCM's base. And ACCM, meanwhile, still has a little bit of a foothold in the back of the Suomi island. Looks like Vilesa is starting to do some condottiero, interestingly. Max even making a samurai. We got a little bit of everything in this game.
Interesting, for sure. But you said it, ACCM has way more of some kind of potential relevance, let's call it like this. 82 villagers versus, for instance, Rubenstock's 44. That's definitely something to point out. So these things going on like this, I still really like the fact that Say My Name was not present on water at all, if then just a little bit, but it was just enough of VNA to do their best to take over the water in the beginning and throughout the middle of the game that Say My Name could utilize his land units. For now though, just looking how the things are developing, it's still as if Suomi kind of stabilized the situation. They've lost Rubenstock, that's for sure, but at least the remaining bases are completely safe. Question then is, will they be able to make use of this and strike back once again, because the water situation is still quite grim for them.
Yeah, the water situation is kind of fluctuating back and forth. Like, neither team has truly won it or lost it. And it's kind of hard to win it or lose it when you can retreat back to your castles and when you can, you know, wait for your teammates to reinforce you with another 60 like caravels or something. Yeah, I think it's hard to win water because there's so much space to rebuild it. There's always space to rebuild docks, and especially if you're the Vikings, your ships build really quickly as well, so you can replenish them very quickly. But at the moment, if ACCM or if the VNA team even can't do damage on land, like consistent long-term damage on land, then Suomi have the opportunity to actually stabilize with the water control and then start to push back themselves. So this game isn't over just yet because VNA haven't done game-ending damage on the land yet.
I fully agree. I mean, they try to do this exactly what you said. If you look at the project of ACCM on the very right-hand side of the map on the Suomi Islands, lots of barracks, and then of course ACCM going for in PLH now taking into 200 swordsmen, going for +40 defense. Those are going to be some tanky, soon to be 200 swordsmen for now, and they could of course deal some damage. But I think it's not going to be enough. And especially the Max tries to stabilize the situation with his own set of guard towers. Looks kinda okay, as if they will deal with ACCM because he's alone. That's the main important thing.
Yeah, now obviously there is an opening on the north where Rubenstock's base once was. But I think... Oh, I hear Valesa killing his own villagers there so that he can have more space for Navy. That's important. Now, obviously, like whoever wins the water is going to be able to start pushing on land again. I think it's going to be very difficult to make a big land push without some serious water control. However, Bact is going to try something on the right side with a couple of barracks, and as you said, ACCM will be upgrading to 200 swordsmen and probably looking for paladins soon. But yes, we've got the army of ACCM being taken out by Condottiero, the castle there going down as well, and a few longboats coming in from the back to try and support this as well.
Now that's the thing, the ranged boats could help out in that way. We see many villagers taking out like this. That's the thing about just going for fire ships, fast fire ships. VNA School did this for a long time. He could then, of course, take over the water, but he could not harass other villagers on enemy islands. But those are different roles. What I like is that Zuppi tries his best to utilize the lead longboats, but still not really offensive, the moves of Suomi. It's always just VNA trying to go for the push. The water is still just a question who is going to win it, or is someone going to fail severely. Still doesn't look like there's a tendency there, because yeah, the boat numbers are so high every time. And yeah, still this opening that you were talking about, where Rubenstock's base was, I see that Bact is doing something about that one. He's currently walling up the shallows there, as if he says, okay, this is our base now. We're going to try to prepare our attack from here.
Yeah, say my name, sending some villagers forward to make some ranges. Maybe we'll see some cavalry archers coming out from him or something as well. He's also doing light cavalry, so it shows me that gold is getting a little bit tight at the moment. And that's not surprising. It's kind of harder to trade on these maps because the land mass is a little bit smaller, so the trade is slightly less effective, and your base tends to be more compact, so the trade carts have a harder time getting through. So yeah, it is possible to trade, of course, and trading is super important, But it looks like the Suomi team are having a more difficult time trading. They do have trade. They are getting 69 gold per trip, and the VNA team are getting 87 gold per trip, just because they can place their trade markets at the end of the island, as opposed to Suomi, where they can't really place them at the top of the island or the east, because ACCM is there.
Yeah, pretty much just like this. Say My Name, by the way, is preparing, like you've said, with the archer ranges, a lot of calf archers now. And something really interesting there, in the middle of the map, literally in the middle, now towards the base of Vilese, that is, a huge set of galleons and the siege rams are about to take down a castle, maybe, trying to create an opening somewhere else. I like this, because they're not only trying to march forward from the very north of where Rubenstock's base was, but also try to open up a couple of gaps here and there. Could work. At least I like to see that VNA tries to attack constantly, keep up the pressure constantly.
That's true. That's true. They have done a lot of, or they have kept a lot of pressure up this whole game. I think Bact has not used his army as well as he perhaps could have done. I feel like he's spent a lot of time with sort of idle navy instead of bringing them to the rest of his team and making one big push together. But now that they're working together to bring Bact over into the fight and get those rams forward, they do take down the castle, and they're starting to punch a hole into Vilese's base. The rams, though, can only go so far, because as soon as they get out of range of the galleons, they can be picked off by these light cavalry, for example. But for now, yeah, Zuppy's going to try and get in there with his demo ships, and they're going to fall short. And Vilese's going to continue to build more caravels. The fight for the water is going strong, but it does look like the upper hand still goes to VNA at the moment. But that doesn't mean that it's completely decisive just yet.
Yeah, true, it's not, maybe not fully decisive, but still they use the water control because the shallows are then free. And what does it mean? The organ guns, the siege rams, they're able to march forward, and this is certainly not the case for Suomi. So even though the water is not decided, I think they don't even want to decide it. They just want to create gaps to go through, squeeze through, and then to not land, but just walk through the shallows and yeah, just place castles, attack. Speaking of which, Vilese tries to stabilize the situation now by placing his own castle, which is currently being hit at by siege rams, a couple of elite organ guns, but then the light caps of Vilese are there as well to spoil the plans. Looks interesting. I think the castle is going to go up.
Yeah, I think so too, but big development in the south now is that Cool has gone for the elite cannon galleon. 15 range, able to take down castles from a long way away, able to pick off the markets at the end of the island, and he needs to protect them, of course. That's not how you protect them. You do need to maybe position the cannon galleons behind the army, but they are also doing a lot of damage to the army of Suomi as well here. Nice demo shots though from Zuppy. I have to say he's hitting a lot of demo shots today. Look at his KD, 390 kills to 275 deaths. He's certainly been pulling his weight this game. But yeah, those cannon galleons will certainly help to clean up the buildings on the shoreline. And I think that Suomi, their time is limited now. Their days are numbered, because this push from VNA does seem to be a little unstoppable at the moment.
Not true. They're always trying to react, always trying to stabilize. Also on the right-hand side, now ACCM is part of the water war as well, with his galleons. Reason for Vilese to split up his army to deal with the situation over there as well. So he's on the left, he's on the right, he's in the middle. Everywhere just trying to react, but we see no sign of some raiding, no sign of ships trying to attack the shorelines from the point of view of Suomi on the map of their opponents. Therefore, yeah, it seems definitely unstoppable. On top of this one, many villagers of Bacti now going forward. What are they about to do in front of the base of Vilese and the Max?
Yeah, I see them. There's a lot of organ guns coming over as well. Oh, they're actually here to chop wood. Looks like wood's getting pretty low.
Yeah, true.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, the wood's getting a little low on their island, so they're coming across to chop. It's reasonable, but they are also running into Max's towers. He has got fully upgraded towers with Yasama arrow slits, 8+6 attack, 2 arrows. Like, who wants to go anywhere near that? Not like everything within these towers' range is just going to die. That's so good.
Yeah, but that's actually a really good observation of yours. You said going for the enemy forest, right? And this is currently happening. I like it a lot because this game in the long run is about, of course, who has some wood left. And what if you just say, alright, I'll just go for your wood line, and so you lose and I win more, potentially. But then again, Yasama is a really mean tech, and therefore the villagers are
Oh,
now
yeah.
retreating.
Yeah, and they have ballistics as well, so even the villagers that are running away are getting hit, so it's pretty painful. But yeah, it looks like VNA are winning the water fair and square here in the east of the map. They are sitting at the markets, they are taking them down. Nice to see ACCM getting back into the game. On the south side, Zuppy and Valesa trying to hold on, but Cool is slowly winning there as well. It looks like the VNA team, a hard-fought victory, but a victory nonetheless. It looks like they will be getting this one. We're just waiting now for Suomi to potentially call the GG in the next few minutes here, because I'm almost certain that this is done for Suomi here.
I think so as well. I mean, just looking at how the things are developing, Rubenstock is going for Imperial Age just now. Quite late, and I don't think that it's gonna have an impact on the game anymore. Also, what I like to see is Bombard Towers. We see that one now. The reason why I like them is, of course, they stabilize the ground that you gain even further. Though, what I like to see also is the trebuchets of the opponents, the Max and the Let's try their best in order to take down those Bombard Towers, because in the long run they can become so dangerous. It's so hard to gain back the ground where the Bombard Towers have been placed. They're holding on, but eventually I think you're right. It's gonna be just too tough just to keep the stabilized and then go out of this and then push back.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, it's going to be a real challenge to actually stop the push of VNA, and then not only just stop it, but be able to actually get to the point where they can push it back now. Wood will certainly start to become a problem as well as the game wears on, and well, obviously Suomi, they are used to playing these kind of games, these long games, these really challenging games. They obviously think they've got a chance, so they're going to play on anyway. But at least for now. But it will get more and more challenging, I think, as time goes by here, especially if they lose the water completely on one side, because I think if VNA come round, you see where all the docks are from Valesa. If they put ships there, they just kill all the trade. Every single trade cart.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean,
all
look
they
at the
have to
trade
do is
anyway.
come around the back.
You're absolutely correct. That could definitely happen. I think the game will be decided even before this one, though, because you said the water, has it been decided? Well, at least on the right-hand side, I see little protests. Just Vilesa tries his best with his caravels. ACCM is still there to annoy here and there. On the left-hand side, still good for Zupi that he's able to push out a little bit, so VNS Cool's backing off at this point. Yeah, surprised for sure. Then again, though, looking at the overall situation, especially on the right-hand side where we were talking about the Bombard Towers, now I don't see any traps anymore. I see how Say My Name, together with his teammate VNS Cool, is able to march forward now. And now this means that even the Max is about to worry about his own base.
That's right, yeah. You know, he's really struggling at the moment. He's got a lot of trade, and he's making a lot of condottiero, but they need more than this. They need something better than condottiero. Condottiero are okay, but they're really not the best unit, I feel. It would be much nicer if he had samurai or something, but I guess he needs his trebs, his castle to make trebs, and he only has one castle right now, so samurai not really an option. Yeah, I don't know. Condottiero, they're okay, but like, why not just go champions in that case? I guess you don't need to upgrade them, but champions would still probably work out better in the long run.
Yeah, in the long run, potentially yes, but you're right with this very observation. Condottiero, they don't require the text, right? You just can pop them out right away, and that means that you have more resources to spend for something else. For instance, the trebuchets, and maybe that's one of the reasons. And still, it's not going to win you the game. As you can see, it's all about VNA and marching forwards, step by step. They're gaining more ground, even with ACCM now joining here with siege rams, about to take down the barracks, which are really important to the Max here, of course. And if this continues like this, the right-hand side will be fully lost. The left-hand side seems safe now. the right-hand side certainly is in danger, especially also now towards the middle with Bacti and organ guns.
Yeah, they've been pushing in there for a long time with the organ guns, and I think the reason why this is taking some time for VNA to push in and actually finish the job is because they always have to keep a number of units on the water. Because if they sacrifice water and go all in on the land, and then they get pushed back, then they don't have any water to control the middle of the map, and then before you know it, you can get raided by Suomi and trying to counterattack them. So at that point, they still have to keep a presence on the water and then try and push on land with a fewer number of units. But at this point, looks like they've got the guard towers up on the hill in the middle. They've got organ guns pushing in. The towers from Max have got to be doing a lot of damage. He's got a lot of kills to his name, but it's Zuppy who's got the most kills for his team at the moment. And overall, it's backed with the largest number of kills in the game. 650 kills for Orange, doing a great job with the Portuguese.
Yeah, definitely really impressive moves there from Bacti. I was about to say, okay, Zuppy is finally making some forward step attacking the dogs of VNA School, but he just waited a little bit, reinforced the numbers, and now is able once again to push Zuppy a bit to the side. I don't think that even if Zuppy was successful, that he could just change the game in a way that's, yeah, there's some opening that could then equalize the very situation, because the right-hand side, I mean, looking even at the minimap, the rainbow colors on the right-hand side is just an indication that, yeah, there's so many enemy units there, and more progress. Slow progress, a lot of bomber towers, but regardless, in the end, it's over.
Taste the rainbow. There you go. Yeah, it is over. GG called, and I feel like it's been GG for a while, but you can see why the Suomi team kept on for as long as they did, because as you saw in the end there, Zuppy did win the water back on the left side, and had they done that sooner, then they might have stabilized. They might have been able to actually pull this back. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. They did a really good job to hang in there. They were pushing back on the water, but by that point, the land had already been lost. And with so many bombard towers and guard towers and other towers just sort of all around the map, it would have been really difficult to push this all back in the north, particularly because there's just, it would take so long to clean this all up in order to regain the ground.
Yeah, agreed. Also, just thinking of how the game would have changed if the Max's initial landing in the beginning of the game would have remained unnoticed. If he would have maybe been able to use the surprise, the moment of surprise, and maybe change the game from there on, some type of snowball effect, but it failed. And therefore, it was already a bit weird, the start of Suomi. Maybe it had something to do with that, because the Max was busy on land, so to speak. He couldn't work on water. He left his teammates alone, so to speak, on water. But the same could be said about Say My Name, who chose the hunts to begin with. Decisions, and also well done by Bacti to spot the Max's plans. And in the end, of course, well done by VNA in general.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the VNA team did better in the early game with the landings, that's for sure. Obviously, Max getting spotted was unable to really do much at all, and ACCM managed to do a lot more damage by comparison. So well played there to VNA. They do get the win. We'll check the achievements real quick, because I think a lot of kills, a lot of deaths that game, and a lot of action all the way throughout.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I've said, it's Bacti with the highest kill amounts. Units killed 673, really impressive. And also the difference to units lost, that's actually quite solid there. 673 to 440. Looks nice. Also largest army, well done. Bacti, certainly strong, but also Zuppy not to be underestimated, like we've said.
Yeah, he did really well. Well played to VNA. Good victory for them. And that means that we'll be going into a third game. And that third game is going to be Salt Marsh. We'll be back in, let's say, a quick 2 minutes. Going to have a short break after that long game. Going to grab a drink. And we'll be back in 2 minutes for our next one. The decider between Suomi and VNA, to see who goes through to the semi-finals.
All right.
All right, so Saltmarsh up next. And this is a map which I've hardly ever seen played competitively, and now in one day we've seen it 3 times.
Yeah, it's surprising for sure. It's certainly one of the more interesting maps in this set because it has this water aspect to it, but not necessarily only for the economy, but just for the military. Remember, just the last time I've casted the game here was with Nilly on this map, and yeah, certainly we've waited for those big demo ship hits. There's some potential on this very map for sure. We'll see though. It's gonna start very soon, I assume.
Yep, we're starting in just a moment, and yeah, Saltmarsh is, well, it's a hybrid map, but I feel like it's a bit unclear as to what's better, land or water. I guess the answer to that is it depends, but you know, we've seen teams going for water getting absolutely wrecked on land, and we've seen teams going for water absolutely holding down the middle of the map and dominating the map control. So I guess it depends on how you utilize the water and whether or not you leave yourself exposed to any kind of land aggression. So here we are in game number 3, the decider between Suomi and VNA. This is to see who goes through to the semi-finals against... well, actually, we don't know who they're against yet because the other semi-final hasn't been played. Oh, sorry, the other quarter-final hasn't been played, but it would be either BZK or Aftermath.
Exactly. So I'll just start right away by introducing the players here. And that's going to be on the left-hand side with Suomi. On the bottom, we have the first flank, the southern flank. That would be Zupi with the Huns. Then his pocket, teal color, Indians, the Max. Then the other pocket is going to be Rubenstock with Melee. And then Vilese, the northern flank with Mayans.
Okay, interesting. So last time we saw Saltmarsh, the last 2 times even, we saw teams taking more sort of water-heavy civs. But I guess since we already just had a water map, and this is map number 3, they've opted to go, well, they can't take the same civs. They're not allowed to take the Italians. They're not allowed to take the Portuguese. They're not allowed to take the Vikings. So it's quite interesting because... and I'm just watching Vilese here, having a hard time getting this boar in because of the scout run by backed. But it's interesting because now they've kind of been forced to maybe take civs which they would not prefer, just due to the fact that they aren't available anymore. So on the other side, in the orange, we have backed playing as the Berbers on the flank. You've got ACCM in the pocket playing as the Slavs in purple. You've got Cool in the red playing as the Japanese. And then to the south, you've got Say My Name in the yellow playing as the Indians. So we've actually got some different civs here. It's very unmirrored, in fact.
I fully agree. It's definitely unmirrored. That's the best term to be used here. I actually initially would like Indian, Slavs, and Japanese Berbers. That sounds like a nice combination there. Indians, Huns, Malay, Mayans is a mixed bag for sure. But then again, I like that the Max is pocket with the Indians. On the other side, it is Say My Name with the Indians as a flank. So that could be maybe different. Then again, though, this whole map should maybe further describe it a tiny bit. There is some potential to wall yourself up fairly easily because of the high frequency of little wood lines that you can just go for some connection, right? It's just connecting them. And then you can wall yourself up and then maybe skip the fuel age. That could be some kind of possibility. So those things are to be considered. And just one last thing before we proceed. Saltmarsh and the production, the generation of the map also, something important is the shallow in the middle, and there's quite some shallow we can talk about. So potentially a lot of space for ships, at least demolition ships or whatever you want to call it. There is the chance because there's a lot of space to go for, in theory.
Yeah, I'm just watching a fun little deer push by ACCM here. He's pushing the deer toward backed, but he kind of messed it up a little bit, and there you go. They're helping each other out here. I'm just wondering why he's pushing the deer. It could be that he's been lamed, and in fact he has. Vilese did steal a boar in the north, so the Mayan player getting an extra boar, that's quite nice. And that means that they're going to have to push the deer in over on this side. In the south, looks like a quick lame coming in from Say My Name as well. Oh, he gets out there with 3 HP and manages to pick a villager from Zupi, but looks like he'll lose his... Oh, so close. It looked like he was going to lose his scout. That was incredibly close.
That was close for sure. I mean, if he would have lost it, then we would have said, okay, that was so greedy. But nah, he just did it. That was some insane value. Well done.
Hey,
At the same time, though, VNS cool lost his scout.
Exactly. He runs it straight into the TC of Zupi. So quite nice start, actually. Quite a bit of action going on right from the early game. I like to see it when teams are cooperating and pushing deer for each other, for example. It's quite cute. There's a lot of berries on this map, so... having your boar stolen isn't the end of the world, but interestingly, we don't see any Franks players. We did see Franks in the Saltmarsh games earlier on. Since there are so many berries, they're quite viable to do quick scouts. And for this one, we are going to see pockets walling up and flanks probably going for scouts and archers and maybe even some militia men-at-arms kind of play. I'm wondering
yeah, militia men-at-arms could be possible due to the walling. It just would make sense in this concern. Then again, the Max, for instance, the first one clicking up there, looking at his economy, his idea, his intentions, leads me to the thought that he probably just wants to go for scouts here.
Yep.
For that one, you need to hurry up on this map because there is some quite considerable distance between you and your opponent. Enough time for your opponent to wall up and make your scouts obsolete, so to speak. Definitely looking forward to seeing how he's going to pull this one off. The others are also on the way. Say my name and back to you.
Yeah, and in the north, Valesa's got an opening here to work with. He's sending his 3 militia in, and it looks like Rubenstock will be staying in the Dark Age for a little longer here. I wonder if this is going to be a fast castle from him, or if he's just delaying his feudal time because of the melee faster up time. We'll have to wait and see on that. But the militia do get in, and they are going to be quickly walled out of that berry patch, so good reaction from Backed. But Backed now will have to deal with this before he can counterattack or push out himself. So that does buy Valesa and his team plenty of time to wall up safely. Good defense from the Drush though, and it doesn't look like Valesa will get much more done, as Backed will obviously wall up that wood line in the north before that even arrives. So good stuff down there, or up there even. And then in the south, I don't really see a lot of action at the moment. It's quite a slow start to the game.
Yeah, that's definitely accurate because it's definitely slow. The Max wasn't there in time. He sees that his opponent's, say my name in this case, is walled up now, at least to the left-hand side. The right-hand side is open. Some potential for scouts raiding. We'll see because he is on the way there-ish. No, he actually tries to go for VNS Cool now, or even ACCM. Speaking of ACCM, the Drush that we were talking about is now attempting to go for ACCM's base, but then again, I guess due to the lack of... Yeah, I was going to say, that's important. This villager is about to be GG.
Maybe. I mean, it's gonna take some chip damage, but it can kind of juke these guys out. At least he'll lead them back to the base of ACCM, so to all of his villager friends. But it looks to me like the wall off on the right side of Say My Name's base is probably the most dangerous area of the map, and unfortunately for Suomi, they haven't found that. So it looks like Say My Name will play quite defensively until he closes it up, and that means that Max will actually move up north now to try and abuse this hole here, because there is still a hole between these trees which hasn't been closed yet, and that means 2 dead archers for Backed right here, maybe even 3.
Now the archers without fletching, so of course they are just easy victims to the scouts. That's really important to the Max. I mean, it seems like, okay, well, lucky of him, he is in there with his scouts, but he actually had to go for the value, because actually, if he wouldn't have been able to find a spot like this, his scouts would be wasted. That's a lot of resources, 5 scouts, but now he's able to maybe get the value out of them, now inside of the base of ACCM, together with the Drush now even of Vilesa, now striking that together. This could be some nice engagement for them.
Yep, the scout of ACCM goes down, the spearman gets microed down as well, and ACCM is quickly walling up his wood lines and his villagers to make sure that they aren't exposed. And it looks like he'll do a pretty good job there of actually keeping them safe. Meanwhile, on the way up to the castle age, it's Rubenstock. He did do that fast castle. Obviously, the melee so quick to get up anyway, but he's up with 32 villagers. He's got the villager lead, and he's already in the castle age. That is some really good economy and immediately throwing down 2 TCs to go up to 3, because why not? His teammates are being quite aggressive, and it's working out pretty well for them at the moment in terms of the map control.
Yeah, then I'm asking myself what he's actually going to go for. It seems that he doesn't participate in the game at all at this point. His KD is quite revealing. That's not a criticism here. He could become a super strong force in the late game with the melee and the potential towards the late game. That's something. Just at the same time, worth pointing out that the Max is still not finished, as he has done a lot of that bad stuff to ACCM's villagers, and now even is about to find more. Or is he? Nope, now he's just going for some scouting there. He couldn't find another villager there. But yeah, good uptimes. Now we have Rubenstock, as we've mentioned, Vilessa, both of them in the next stage. On the way, also Say My Name, Max and Zuppy.
Yeah, looks like Zuppy is going to be walling himself in, potentially just to make sure that... Well, it's interesting, actually. I feel like these stone walls might actually be unnecessary here. I'm not sure. I think he might just want to boom behind this, but then he's just spent all of that stone walling and actually walled his stone out. So potentially could just start slinging once he gets to the castle age, build a second TC and sling. But in that case, why not just stay feudal and do it? Because, you know, that might maybe be a bit more effective. But either way, we'll keep an eye out on Zuppy to see what he goes for here, while Rubenstock's eco is doing great, and Vilessa as well. Mayan player, Castle's coming up, second TC is coming up, third TC will be on the way fairly soon. I guess this is the age of Sling the Mayans, right?
Yeah, would make sense. Certainly interesting about Zuppy, right? He's getting trashed at this point. I like what Say My Name does. It's always the best reaction. If you see your opponent walling up, why not harass him with the towers? But at this point, it's late and not necessarily super effective, because there are more and more woodlines for Zuppy inside of his base that he could just use and that are not being harmed by any potential towers. Still some raiding, not raiding, but some... Well, let's call it some poking happening on the right-hand side with the camels there. And maybe this will annoy Zuppy in a way that he needs to find a solution. Current solution being a couple of spearmen and a monk.
You know, honestly, I didn't see the monk and siege coming because of how few villages he had on gold. Normally, if you're going to do monks and siege, you're really expecting to see, like, you know, a good 7-8 villages on gold here. At the moment, he doesn't have the gold to actually afford to make any siege, as well as making monks at the same time. So, interesting. He's obviously just trying to defend for now and buy time. And I guess it's working for the time being, as Say My Name isn't getting through there in a hurry. And that means that Max is able to build his TCs up quite comfortably behind it. But yeah, maybe Giuseppe's just not confident doing anything else here. He can quite comfortably defend with a monk and add his second TC and third TC eventually.
Some interesting stuff is going on for sure now that you've mentioned the Max. Okay, now he's shifted from stone to wood. I was asking myself, why does he go on stone? Why necessarily this? Does he have a master plan? But no, he's just going to go for the boom, which is the most dangerous situation that you could go for if you're playing against the Max. Max with 4 TCs very soon. You can expect him to reach 100 villages very, very early. And this will, of course, be quite dangerous. Though, once again, similar to the first game, I would say, map control-wise, VNA has the better spot, because the Suomi players are actually locked up behind their walls.
Yeah, at the moment, Vilessa as well in the north might start to get some more ground for the Suomi team, because Bact has gone for crossbow instead of going for something like knights. Obviously, he's on the flank, so going for archer's crossbow makes a lot of sense, especially when your pockets are slabs. But the Berber stable is great, and he could have gone for knights as well had he been able to wall up and sort of fast castle, which is a bit too risky. However, his opponent has managed to fast castle and go plumes, and now he's got these crossbows, which are very, very ineffective against the army of Vilessa.
True indeed. I mean, on this map, it's always this thing, is crossbows worth going for because of the distance? But I think you're right, especially if you're pocketed Slavs. Going for crossbows makes sense, even though you're Berbers and you could profit from your cheaper stables, so to speak. But then, it is Vilas's time to engage, I assume. He doesn't have Botkin Arrow yet because he goes for Imperial Age. That's some early Imperial Age, as well as Say My Name. This will be quite interesting, and I see Vilesa with the intention to attack very soon once he hits Imperial Age and maximizes the attacks of the Plumed Archers. I think after Bracer he will start to do something. We'll have to wait a little bit more.
Yeah, so Zuppy is slinging the max, but I think that's kind of expected that he would sling some here, given how he's walled up and defending like this. But he didn't want to sort of do a feudal wall and then not be able to defend himself in a pinch. So I kind of like this. It's not like a full commitment to the sling because he can easily switch away from it later on, and he's not leaving his economy behind. But meanwhile, yeah, Say My Name is taking the sling from Cool. Cool is still feudal slinging. So you look at the villager count, you see 47 villagers for Cool and 61 for Zuppy. Zuppy is still building his eco while slinging the excess over as well.
While slinging, while doing something for his eco, while also putting up more stone walls and defending himself with mangonels. Looks interesting. It's some kind of hybrid approach. Slinging, defense, eco. Not so sure how successful he's going to be with that one. At the moment, he is successful, but we have to wait because Say My Name has a considerable amount of camels there. Indians camels, that is, of course. So this could be very dangerous very soon once there is a gap, and there is some kind of potential for that one because Say My Name is now dropping a castle in front of his base.
Yeah, well, it's almost like behind his base, isn't it? That's it's the opposite side to where you'd expect the castle to be, but it could be good. It might cut off the reinforcements from Max. It might allow him to punch his way through the rear. But yeah, we have Zuppy slinging to Max, and we have Rubenstock slinging out to Vilesa. And I like the fact that they've got, well, they're both going for 2 slings, but they're both slinging from the Castle Age. So look at the villager count for Rubenstock. That's 101 villagers. That's a huge economy. Slinging Vilesa right here. So this is going to be super powerful.
I think so as well. Something that is becoming less and less powerful is Bhakti at this point. If you go in front of into his base with the camera, do you see the skeletons? Do you see how much damage has been dealt with the plumed archers that now have Bracer? As I said, this would be the perfect time. Now we see the castle by Vilesa as well as trebuchets already. This is going to be some really, really serious push here. Asking myself how Bhakti actually wants to hold on against this one. He is in Castle H. His economy was actually for the sake of, what's this, crossbows? But then again, wow, it's going to be tough for him.
He wants to hold on, but he won't be able to very easily. They're hoping to kind of do a little bit of a base trade, I think, at the moment. Say My Name coming forward to drop a castle now. He's actually supported by Bact. Bact is like, right, I can't defend myself here. Maybe ACCM can come and help me out. Maybe ACCM can send some onagers over or something. But man, the Mayans are so fast. The Cap Ram is already done. The Trebuchet is already out. And ACCM isn't even in the Imperial Age yet. Bact is completely undefended right now as he sends his army to support Say My Name, and they try to take out the Max. The Max has done a really good job of quick gating, the Age of Gates in full force as always, and we're going to see Max now stalling for time a little bit, while Vilesa's doing some serious damage on the other side, and even Zuppy here isn't really feeling the heat too much, as everything seems to be piled onto the Max right now.
I think that's, once again, really spot on observation there. The time is going to be important. How successful and how fast are going to Say My Name and Bhakti going to be when invading the Max space? Then in comparison to Vilesa, who is currently harassing Bhakti to the fullest, and also has a side project, so to speak, to harass ACCM at the same time, I feel that one single player, and that is Vilesa, is currently about to deal more damage overall, because 2 players of VNA are completely focusing on the Max. Then again, though, they're inside, so I guess now it's the time for Say My Name to go for the huge value with his heavy camels, Indians heavy camels. This looks quite bad for the Max at this point.
Yeah, Imperial Camel now coming in as well. Max decides to engage, then immediately backs up as soon as the Imperial Camel upgrade is there. His own Imperial Camel will be done at 34 minutes. He's got to stall for another minute and 40 seconds. Meanwhile, yeah, I mean, Bact is surrounded. ACCM is surrounded, and it feels like Vilessa will do more damage here, but he's not at the moment. They've stalled him out with Fortified Wall, and maybe Vilessa should have changed his focus to hit Cool, because Cool is still Feudal Age. He cannot upgrade his walls to you know, Fortified Wall. He cannot stall in the same way that Backed can. And so Vilessa's not done enough damage. He's actually now forced to send some Plumed Archers down to try and help the Max. And the Max needs another 30 seconds until Imperial Camel comes in. Another 20 seconds now, and as soon as that comes in, he can start to try and push this back 2v1 for the time being.
2v1, still 2v1. That doesn't sound too good. Vilessa is trying to help out, as you said, but now he's even spotting something really important. Say my name, actually with more deadly intentions here. Tried to drop a tower here in front of the base of Rubenstock, but it has completely failed. Good, that was well done by Vilessa. He had some luck there, spotting this one. And also, actually, what happened while we were talking was Vilessa tried to harass VNA's Cool, because the woodlands of his are actually quite fragile in that concern when ranged units are attacking. But it wasn't as successful. The potential of Vilessa with his units is bigger, and he has more enemies surrounded, but I think it's way more lethal what Say My Name did here. Then again though, the Max finally, with the help of his teammate, able to push out of his own base once again, and this looks once again a bit better for him.
Yeah, I mean, they took some damage in Max's base, but they knew that if they just waited for Max to complete his Imperial Age Camel upgrade and for the Elite Plumed Archers to come and reinforce, they knew they'd push it back. They did. Obviously, Backed's army was able to do very little there because crossbow versus Imperial Camel and Plumed Archers. I can't think of a worse unit aside from the Archer to try and engage that. But yeah, they at the moment are now switching their focus, I guess, to perhaps trying to hurt Zuppy, who's gone for some mega walling here. Look at this. I love it. It's he's gotten quite creative with his walls. It's almost like an art installation with the south of the map.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. But once again, really important of you to say, this very engagement inside of the Max space was bad, actually. The Imperial Camels were really strong. Say My Name with a good unit there, a unit of choice. I mean, with the Indians, quite obvious. But then again, it was actually Bakhti's fault with just, what was this, crossbows, of course, against the enemy Imperial Camels with the additional pierce armor that they get because of the Swift bonus. They had no chance whatsoever. It was 2v1. I said maybe 2v1 is not good, but then again, it was more of a 1v1 due to the crossbows being quite obsolete there. And now we have it. Suomi is pushing back even more now. Looks really good.
Yeah, good rating from Vilessa as well. Look at Vilessa's KD, by the way. 102 kills to 32 deaths. He's everywhere right now. He's kind of got Backed surrounded. He's got ACCM surrounded. And I feel a little disappointed in ACCM this game. I can't understand how ACCM is only at 130 population when he's basically had a free boom and he's the Slavs and he's just... I'm very confused. Like, he's only making Siege Onager to defend. That's all he's done. He's not pushed out. He's not tried to raid. I know he's the Slavs, and it's not easy to go and raid with the Slavs, but I feel like making something is better than just making some Siege Onagers and sitting at home.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it confuses me as well. I'm even struggling to find the correct words for this one because you are Slavs. You have such a huge potential for pretty much anything with your strong economy. But yeah, all you do is Siege Onagers. I mean, of course, Siege Onagers are good, great, especially with the Slavs. But just defensively speaking, well, it's not going to make the cut here. What we see now, at least, are barracks. Halberdiers. I assume that Druzhina will also kick in at some point. Same can be said about Rubenstock with 167 villagers currently. He's placed his castle and now goes for Elite Battle Elephants. In my opinion, a good choice because it is actually the best way with the Rise of Raja civilization to maximize the spots that you have concerning your count of your not your villagers, but your military, that is. There we go. And therefore, the battle elephants are not the strongest due to a lot of missing upgrades, but still they will be there in order to create some damage.
Yeah,
population
they're
exactly.
still a very, very strong unit, regardless of the lack of upgrades. I mean, it still
Mm.
has 250 health and 13 attack right now. Well, it's now upgraded to elite, so 300 health and 16 attack. So you know, it's still a very formidable unit, and even if they're not as strong as you know, the other battle elephants, it's still an elephant, so it does the
Yeah.
damage. But the point is, right now, VNA are just surrounded. They're not looking very good at all. And I think the slab player should have just gone Cavalier, to be honest, and got the numbers up, because it's just ACCM defending and not really doing much else at the moment.
Yeah, that's something really important that you said once again. You said that ACCM should rather go for Cavaliers. I fully agree. Why? Because of this map. You need the mobility because it's such a huge distance to go for, right? But then again, the late game of the Slavs, of course, is more about the infantry and the siege. This is what he does, but of course he has disadvantage. I agree. It will be a bit yeah, awkward to a certain extent. Now that even the threat is real, Ruben Stock is there, about to go into the base of his opponents. Step by step, he's preparing himself. It will be tough for sure.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a good idea to go for siege and Halbs in the late game, but I think it makes more sense to go Cavalier first, like we saw
Right.
in the previous games, because it gives you more map control. It gives you the ability to react quicker, and it probably would have been able to stop a lot of the earlier aggression from Valessa as well, and then allow them to try and counterattack. But my goodness me, look at Ruben Stock and look at those harbors. That's
I was going to
what
say.
we wanted to see, right? Like, this map is perfect for harbors. You can just build them on every area of the map, like non-stop, and you just have like a million arrows firing everywhere. Look, he's got them everywhere in the north, and he's building them in the middle as well. It's such a good,
Beautiful.
building for this map.
Nah, wow,
I
the
love it.
North is really the next level for sure.
Well, there you go. To protect the trade, of course, it's a really good strat, but we didn't really get to see them being used effectively because, unfortunately for VNA, they never got that far. And to me, it just felt like VNA were playing a very defensive game there. You've got Bact and ACCM just kind of all buddy-buddy in the north, walled into their little, you know, safe base. And that was it. Like, everyone else just got absolutely wrecked, and they tried to make a push earlier on. They went into Max's base, they did some damage, they got cleaned up, and Bact and ACCM never saw the light of day, really.
Pretty much. Decisions. It was all about the decisions. Quite of a trivial comment of mine, but still, in this case, quite well applied if you think about this very momentum where I said maybe they have the map control at this point, and you said, well, yeah, for maybe for a minute or two, because Villes is about to go for the plumed archers and he can then protect himself. Maybe they should have made use of this very little gap that they had to maybe force themselves more. I mean, they got the nice civilizations. They got Slavs. They could have gone for knights. They could have gone for cavaliers afterwards. As you said, map control would have been so important, but they were too passive. Therefore, unfortunate for them, and well played by Suomi.
Yep, well played indeed. Good win for Suomi there. They're going to be pretty pleased with that one, as they've started to turn it around in this tournament so far. They have got off to a pretty poor start, but then their last event, the 2v2 event, they managed to take down both the SY team and Team Secret to win that event. And before that, they beat, I can't remember who they beat in the previous event, but it was another big team. It might have even been SY again, or Secret, I can't remember. But regardless, Suomi will go forward. And if we take a look at the bracket now, you can see that there's only one match to go in